All right, welcome guys. Today we're going to kind of do a little something different. We're going to cover a little bit about the Miller welding machine that we're using for some of the aluminum that we're doing in the shop. We had somebody ask us if we could give them kind of a rundown because they're trying to put together the similar machine. So we're just going to show you kind of the components that we put together to run aluminum on this particular piece of equipment. And then we'll demo some aluminum welding with it and show you some of the functions that you can use or that we use with this piece of equipment. So I guess to start off, I'm going to show the gun that we're using. And if we can come in here, you can see that this drive roller is a knurled drive roll. And so this is the pulling portion. And then inside the wire feed box over here is the push. So I'll open up the cabinet on that in just a second. But this is a knurled drive roller. And you can see on this one, the top grooves on here that aren't being used, that's for a larger wire. And then the smaller grooves that we're using, that's for smaller wire. And to give some, I guess, perspective, the wire that we're using is a 3/64 or 0.047 wire. Now, the knurled portion of this drive roll from Miller is actually, I believe, a 0.35. So it's actually a smaller groove than, I guess, what would be intended. And that's what's always worked for me. If you use a 4/7 drive roller with 4/7 wire, and it works, great. This is what works for us. I know a lot of people are kind of getting more particular about knurled drive rollers these days because what happens is you get little grooves in your aluminum wire and it kind of deforms your wire. And so if you're trying to do something like X-ray weld or something like that, sometimes that can get a little bit more finicky to pass that X-ray. But with what we're doing, this has always been a really good setup for me and for the things that I've done in the past, building boats and stuff like that. So I always go to Miller when it comes to aluminum. That's what I'm used to, that's what I like, and there's a lot of good equipment out there, but this has never let me down. So let's go over to the cabinet real quick and show you, another function on this is, before we go away here, I'm getting ahead of myself. So your wire feed speed, you can adjust it from right here in the handle and it'll give you the numbers of where you're at. So you can see I can move that around and turn it up or down. And that's just gonna adjust how fast, how many inches per minute we're running out. Okay, in the cabinet, this is going to be your pushing the wire when you do your set your tensioner. Typically, I don't go much over 1/4 of an inch on tension. And the wire that we're using today, Alcotech, and then this is 5356 alloy. And basically, if you get your tension set right here and you get your tension set right here, you shouldn't have a whole bunch of jamming up. And if you look here, you turn this knob, you can actually pull your whole gun mechanism out and have more access to your block here, your mounting block. And your gas is actually ran through this block into your lead section here. So on some of the older cabinets from Miller, they might look just like this cabinet, but I've actually had one where your gas line came out right here and plugged into the cabinet on the side. And again, that was an older version, and I don't know if that cabinet was kind of custom set up by somebody else because I got it secondhand. So just kind of giving you a rundown of what it should look like in this cabinet that we're using. And then we have a pulse box. And so if you want to run pulse, you can run pulse through this box. And so like right now we're on program 2. We're running a 4/7 wire, and the AL is for aluminum. The 5356 is the alloy of the wire that we're using. The AR is for argon, and then we're adaptive, and then I've got the arc length turned all the way down to 3. So, and you can go through a wide range on your arc length. So what we're gonna do is, because I'm gonna do a corner to corner weld with this, and so I'm gonna turn it way down because it's gonna be an open corner. And just to show you the difference, as far as the parameters of going from say a fillet weld to an open corner weld, what that's gonna look like. So, and also on these pulse boxes, if you go to different programs, can we see that? Okay. So you can, that one's for nickel. Here's another one for aluminum. So there's stainless steel. There's a bunch of different programs on here. The ones that we're going to be concerned with are the CV, and that's just straight CV. So it basically like just be running through your power source into your wire feeder, and then your different. So we're going to use program 2, and then this would be a pulse. So with that being said, we've got all that stuff hooked up, and we'll do a quick weld. Okay guys, so we're going to do this corner to corner, open corner weld. Let me get here close. And I think this material is 125 thickness. And we're going to try to put this camera inside the hood and try to give a view from the camera's perspective as we weld along here. So here we go. So that's our weld. And then basically what we're going to do to do a fillet is we'll come back to the box, and with this material we'll probably turn our arc length up to let's try 22. And then we'll turn our wire speed up. And we'll see what that looks like just about there. That's pretty high. It starts sputtering around like that. That wire's a little bit high. Still a little high. Okay, this should be about right. Okay. And there's our fillet. Now, if you're working with aluminum and you have to do any grinding or buffing or any of that kind of stuff, I like to use these 36 grit discs that are flat, that are kind of a spin-on. Okay, So this hub is something that you'd have to purchase separately, but it just screws right on to any standard grinder. And these are for 4.5-inch discs. And these are really nice for blending and grinding and stuff like that. I like them over the flap discs, but to each their own how they do their cleanup. But they work really well, and they work pretty quick. If you're just, say we had to get rid of this weld. Okay, that fast. Bye-bye weld. And your disc, if you put wax on these, they last a lot longer, but you can see this disc still looks pretty darn new. Then if we step it to this red disc, I think they're 80. But don't quote me on that. But it cleans it right up. Basically, anyway, that's the kind of the rundown on this particular machine. We also use a Lincoln 350 in the shop, and that one welds aluminum as well. It's just not basically a power source where you're having to source the rest of your components in order to run, say, aluminum or steel wire. We do have an extra box up here, that one specifically for steel wire. Even though you can run steel wire in this aluminum wire feeder, this extended reach. The problem with it is that you have to change out your liners or buy a whole new gun. That's a push-pull lead as well to run some steel wire, which is really not necessary, so we don't do it. But anyway, that's our rundown on that. Hope it helps anybody out there who's trying to set up a piece of older Miller equipment.